you, but personally, I find witnessing a whale or a dolphin in the freedom of the ocean far more appealing than seeing one trapped in a cage. I want you all to take a second and imagine getting on a boat and traveling far out from the coast into the deeper parts of the sea. You're sitting there watching the waves roll over when suddenly you see a killer whale jump 10 to 15 feet out of the air before your eyes. Now take another second to imagine yourself sitting in a crowd of 350 people watching a trainer force an abused killer whale to do the same jump for the 20th time that day. Now tell me, which situation would you rather remember? I'm sure all of us remember being little kids and watching the ads for SeaWorld and dreaming of going and seeing the whales one day. After knowing about the animal cruelty, public safety problems, and other issues associated with SeaWorld, my hope for you all is that you help make a difference towards the way the orcas are treated at SeaWorld. Personally, I've never visited SeaWorld, and I'm no expert on the topic, but after watching the documentary Blackfish, I was intrigued to put a couple of hours of research into this topic and speak to you all about it today. The captivity and abuse of orcas at SeaWorld is unjust and needs to be stopped. These animals are not supposed to grow up in tanks. They are meant to have the freedom of calling the entire ocean their home, and we need to help make a change towards the way these animals are treated. First, I'd like to tell you a little bit about why capturing and trapping orcas is such a problem. Next, I will address my plan for how we can change SeaWorld and how we can start taking action. And finally, I will explain the practicality of my plan and why the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. I'd like to begin by talking about how the orcas trapped in SeaWorld are affected and why it is such a problem. No corporation should have the power to trap wild animals and harm them just for profit. It is unjustified and wrong to take animals that belong in the wild and put them in boxes that cause physical and emotional problems to them. SeaWorld is not only hurting the animals, but it is disrupting a good amount of the environment that the orcas were taken from, and causing many public safety issues as well. The first problem associated with removing the orcas out of the ocean and trapping them in tanks is that it disrupts the entire ocean's ecosystem. These animals help maintain a stable population of all sea animals and regulate the food chain. When one of the sea animals is captured from the rest of the pack, it messes with the communication, behavior, and activity of the rest of the pack and many other smaller aquatic animals. According to SeaWorld of Hurt, many animals, especially orcas, are captured at very early ages and are ripped away from their families and packs. Instead of growing up the ocean as their home, they are ripped away from their families and confined in a tank for the rest of their lives. Some whales are even killed in the capturing process if they cause too many problems. Without these large ocean predators, the ecosystem would start to fail because the orcas are at the top of the food chain and control the population of all the animals under it. If orca families are disrupted, the smaller animals start overpopulating and killing off certain species. The second problem is that as soon as these orcas are put in captivity, they suffer many problems that would not occur if they were living in the ocean. SeaWorld of Hurt writes about how some of the orcas face sunburns because they are too close to the surface of the water. To cover up this problem, SeaWorld covers the sunburns with black zinc oxide to shield it from the public. Wild orcas do not face this problem because they spend most of their time submerged in the shady, deep parts of the ocean. According to SeaWorld of Hurt, orcas in the wild have an average life expectancy of 30 to 50 years. Their estimated maximum life expectancy is 60 to 70 years for males and 80 to more than 100 for females. The median age of orcas in captivity is only 9. SeaWorld claims that it is a very common condition for the male orcas to have a collapsed dorsal fin. That is false. Collapsed dorsal fins are rarely seen in the wild, and they are mainly caused by the orcas being held captive and living in unnatural environments. Not only does SeaWorld cause harm to the orcas trapped inside, but it's also been a problem for public safety as well. According to Smithsonian.com, the captivity of these animals has caused them to become way more aggressive than how they act in the wild. In the past few years, many trainers have suffered broken bones, ruined sinuses, and even death. SeaWorld of Hurt mentions that there have been reports of over 100 incidents dealing with the orca aggression at their parks. Now that you are all aware of the severe problems happening inside the walls and tanks of SeaWorld, I'd like to propose my plan to fix it. We need to start off by becoming aware of the issues, watching documentaries on this topic and reading up on the issues involving SeaWorld. Then we need to use our tools like social media to help spread the word and make others aware of the issues. Once enough people are involved, we will have the power to push SeaWorld to change their standards. We can even go farther and protest against SeaWorld by joining marches, donating to organizations and to fight the same problem, or even reaching out to SeaWorld and to ask them to change how they run things. There are plenty of movies and documentaries about the problems associated with SeaWorld, how to help save the orcas, and many about the beauty of them living in the wild. Blackfish, The Orca, Free Willy, and many other movies like this will help you raise your awareness about the issue. Movies aren't the only way to educate yourself about the issue, though. There are many articles, books, and other sources that share these same issues and raise awareness. The next step in the plan is pretty simple. Share your knowledge. The more people that know about this issue, the more power there will be to help stop the problem of holding orcas and other marine animals captive in unsuitable environments. We are very lucky to be growing up in a generation where sharing information is very simple. All it takes is sharing a video on Facebook, posting a photo on Instagram, or even going the extra mile and starting a blog. By sharing information about saving the orcas, it may eventually spread until SeaWorld loses all of its customers and is forced to change its standards. If enough people join together and boycott SeaWorld, they may finally see what they're doing is wrong and inhumane and put it to a stop. If this issue resonates with any of you as much as it does with me, or I've inspired you to take full action to fix this problem, there are more ways to go the extra mile. There have been many marches against the issue that have taken place around the world and the U.S. fighting to put an end to SeaWorld's cruel treatment of animals. They may not happen in your state specifically, but there are different parts of the nation. Reaching out to SeaWorld through letters and emails is another way to fight this problem. Tell SeaWorld how you feel and why holding animals in captive is such a problem. There are also many organizations you can donate to, such as PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, or other people who are taking major action against SeaWorld. If you don't have the time to dedicate yourself to putting an end to the SeaWorld, donations and recommendations go towards people who can. Once awareness about this issue is spread enough to push people or SeaWorld to expand their orca tanks, provide enough shade, stop breeding more orcas, and release the ones that are able to survive on their own and prepare the other ones to live in the sea again. There have been many marches against this issue that have taken place around the U.S. and in fighting to put an end to SeaWorld's cruel treatment of animals. They may not happen in your state specifically, but they are different, or all throughout the nation. Reaching out to SeaWorld, Next, I'd like to explain why I truly believe this plan will work and the practicality of it. Many people may not care about the whales or SeaWorld at all, but I'm pretty sure there's not many people out there that believe it's okay to harm animals for profit. SeaWorld has already started to take action to stop the orca shows and widen some of the tanks because word is spread. If more people become aware and take action, I believe there's a huge possibility SeaWorld would change its standards so they are no longer harming their animals. Celebrities like Jessica Biel, Russell Brand, Matt Damon, and so on have publicly announced why they believe SeaWorld's actions are wrong and that they need to change them. SeaWorld of Hurt quotes Jessica Biel when she says, "With the release of Blackfish and PETA's educational campaign, the public now knows about the devastating effects of keeping orcas captive and closely confined in SeaWorld." Since the release of the movie Blackfish, a movie specifically about the problems associated with SeaWorld, thousands of people have joined in the movement to put an end to SeaWorld's mistreatment of animals. Smithsonian Magazine writes, trainers have begun carrying emergency compressed air, and the San Diego Park plans to begin a construction this year on a new orca habitat called Blue World that will be more than double the swimming space. It is up to our generation to fight for what we believe in and make a difference. Witnessing all the change that has already been made towards this specific issue shows how strong the power of awareness and sharing really is. But will the advantages of this plan put an end to SeaWorld and outweigh the disadvantages that come with it? I believe they will. Many people, especially the faculty owners in SeaWorld, believe that there is no reason to change it, and some think that the benefits outweigh the cost of shutting down or changing the orca exhibits. Awesome Ocean website lists a few reasons why it's important to keep SeaWorld running and performing orca shows. First off, it would shut down the largest rehabilitation and rescue program in the world and cut out large sums of money going into animal conservation. But what many people don't know is that a lot of that money for conservation is going into fixing the problems that SeaWorld has caused. By tearing orcas out of the sea, it causes a disruption in the family and the entire ocean's ecosystem. Another major argument against closing down the orca exhibits at SeaWorld is that around 500 staff members would lose their jobs, and it's hypocritical towards the rest of the U.S. zoological system. Many reports of how dangerous and abusive SeaWorld really is has come straight from the staff members at SeaWorld, and many whom have quit their jobs after witnessing the cruelty of the animals firsthand. It is also not hypocritical to the rest of the U.S. zoological system because there has not been nearly as many reports of physical or emotional problems associated with the animals in cages. In this specific situation involving changing SeaWorld's orcas policies, the pros definitely outweigh the cons. In conclusion, by making you all aware of the issue, sharing my plan to fix it, and stating the practicality of it, I hope I have inspired you to become aware of the issue and take action. This problem is not going to disappear on its own. We need to be the generation that stands up for what we believe in, which hopefully means helping me put an end to SeaWorld's madness. You don't have to live in California, Texas, or Florida to be affected by this issue or to make a difference. If you have any passion about animals, this problem relates to you. No one wants to hear about a problem like this, but we need to take action in any way we can in order to stop it. Reading up, watching movies, or any other sort of awareness about this issue is the first step. Sharing your awareness with the world comes next. Finally, put in however much effort, whether it's donations, writing about the issues, or participating, is the last step. There is a very high practicality of this plan working out. There have already been many instances SeaWorld has changed its policies due to the concern of citizens. We just need to take it to the next level to change it all the way. This problem is not one of the major problems going on in the world today, but it is still very important. There's not many ways we can go about changing world peace or ending a war, but we have the possibility to solve this problem. So next time you and your family are thinking about going to visit SeaWorld, think again and make others aware of your decision.